Now, DK Metcalf just requested a trade. The Seahawks just moved on from Tyler Lockett, releasing him. Longtime player for the Seahawks, had a lot of success with them. Pete Carroll, Russell Wilson had some great years with them. With this new, coaching staff that's in the building, new voices in the building, and they really don't owe DK Metcalf too much from how it's looking, how the situation's transpiring. I mean, DK Metcalf and Geno Smith too, it didn't seem like they were on the same page a lot too this season. JSN, the year he had 1,100 yards receiving, 100 catches, 6 touchdowns, he clearly became the receiver number 1 in Seattle. Geno Smith had a better connection with him. So moving on from DK makes sense from how it's looking on the outside in Seattle. Still a young player, 27 years old. Every season, damn near, he's playing at least 15 games, so relatively healthy. And there are some interesting destinations for him. It looks like he wants a contract wherever he's going. It looks like he wants, financial security, wants an extension done wherever he goes and wherever he gets traded. So some destinations I like for DK Metcalf, really like Baltimore. I mean, could you imagine the athleticism on that offense? Just all the players they have, different position groups. Every position group, there's a matchup nightmare for the defense. Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, best quarterback running back tandem probably we've seen in NFL history. Derrick Henry almost ran for 2,000 yards. Lamar Jackson is fringe 1,000-yard rusher every season. And what he can do with the read option and what he does to defenses as a runner. His passing ability too. He had an Aaron Rodgers level accurate passing season. The numbers we saw him put up as a passer, we haven't seen before in NFL history. Like, he was elite as a passer and only getting better. So could you imagine getting him a big body receiver in DK Metcalf? And other than Lamar Jackson, the best players on the Ravens, they specialize inside the hashes. You get you a dominant outside receiver like DK Metcalf, it's going to be hard to stop. It's going to be impossible to stop this team. Zay Flowers put up a 1,000-yard season. Rashad Bateman put up almost 800 yards, had 9 touchdowns, so he was still a threat. He blossomed in this last season, and he was healthy. He was healthy majority of the season. So replacing Nelson Aguilar with DK Metcalf would be insane. DK Metcalf has had 3 1K seasons in his 6 years. He's one of 6 players all time with 900 yards in his first 6 seasons. He can jump higher than you. He can run faster than you. And he's stronger than you type of receiver. Calvin Johnson comparisons he was drawn earlier on in his career. So this is the type of receiver that Lamar Jackson has never played with. He's always played with those, small, fast receivers, those gadgety, shifty receivers. Zay Flowers has probably been the best receiver he's had. But DK Metcalf would be receiver 1 on the Baltimore Ravens. And I think DK Metcalf, this would be a destination for him to stay, for him to want to stay and win. He hasn't won at the highest level yet, really. He hasn't been in an NFC Championship game. He hasn't won to the level the Ravens will be if he comes to play for the Ravens. And I think playing with Lamar, that would be the best quarterback he's ever played with. He's played with Geno Smith. He's played with Russell Wilson. But people that play for Lamar love him right out the gates. Derrick Henry. That relationship they built. Mark Ingram, other players, OBJ, like they come to Baltimore playing with Lamar and they just love Lamar. Very good teammate. And yeah, you think the season Lamar had this last season was crazy? Imagine if you get him, DK Metcalf, Rashad Bateman, Zay Flowers, those guys are healthy. And I think in this situation, you trade Mark Andrews. You probably put him in the deal. Send him to Seattle. Let Isaiah Likely be tight end 1. He's another guy that's a matchup nightmare. Had that really good game against the Chiefs. Dominated that defense. He puts up performances like that every now and then. But him in a consistent tight end role position, he would go off. He could have an 800 to fringe 1,000-yard season. Just that special. There's not too many tight ends that are better than him in the league in terms of skill, in terms of the talent he has. I really like getting a big threat for Lamar. That's probably my favorite destination for him. The Texans would also be a great destination for DK Metcalf. They came into the season with 3 really good receivers, Stephon Diggs, Nico Collins, and Tank Dell, and there was concerns about, can all these receivers touch the ball at once? Can all these receivers eat? Can everybody be happy? And later on, they found out that you needed more receivers because all the receivers got banged up. Stephon Diggs tore his ACL. Tank Dell, unfortunately, suffered another injury. He might not even play this season. So I think making a move for DK, Nick Caserio, the Texans GM, he's always aggressive. He's always making moves. I could see him making a trade for DK or potentially getting another receiver. Stephon Diggs could go back to Houston, but could you imagine DK Metcalf and Nico Collins as your two receivers for CJ Stroud? One of the best precision quarterbacks, accurate pinpoint, sure thing quarterback. Getting DK Metcalf alongside Nico Collins, I don't know how you would defend that offense. You look at two 6'4" receivers that are 225 pounds plus that can run blazing fast. I mean, we saw the footage of DK Metcalf hawking that DB Buda Baker that had that interception, that had that turnover, almost took it to the house. DK Metcalf hawked his ass. But yeah, both of these guys can outrun every defensive skill position player you have. It's a matchup nightmare. Nico Collins, when healthy, he's a top 5 receiver in the NFL. Just talent-based too. Some people might not put him in that category, but when healthy, the season he was having before he got hurt, banged up towards the end of the season, yeah, he was in that conversation. And DK Metcalf is a top 10 receiver. So I think DK Metcalf and Nico Collins could be potentially the best receiver duo in the NFL. And I want to see them put together. I want to see the year CJ Stroud would have with those two weapons. You look at how that team is defensively. They had a little bit better offensive line for CJ Stroud. The Texans beat the Chiefs. That game was that close because of how good the Texans defense is. Danielle Hunter, Will Anderson, D'Amico Ryans is a phenomenal defensive-minded coach. And the offense coordinator they brought in, I think he'll do a better job. Bobby Slowick did this second season. He made no adjustments, made no changes to his offense. People caught up to it. And they have Joe Mixon at the running back position, who's still a really good running back, top 10 running back in the league, effective in the passing game, had that big game against the Chargers, ran all over that really good defense. So the Texans could come out the AFC if they get DK Metcalf, in my opinion. They need to shore up the offensive line, obviously, but they could come out the AFC if they land a weapon like DK Metcalf. I also think the Packers, obviously, is a destination. I mean, Jordan Love, get him another weapon. Really hasn't had a receiver one, dominant receiver one. Jaden Reed, I think he would be better as a receiver two. He's done a really good job, but I feel like defenses, they plan for him a lot more. You really don't have too much consistent production from Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, all the stuff that was going on off the field with him and the Packers organization, the conflict there. And the Packers already offered a first-round pick and a player in a deal potentially reported to the Seahawks. So I could see the Packers as a landing spot. Jordan Love and DK Metcalf would be nice. I don't want to see it as a Bears fan. Buffalo would also be a nice destination. Josh Allen and DK Metcalf and Keon Coleman, Shakir, that would be really nice. Box office. Let me know down below in the comments, what's the best destination for DK Metcalf? Where do you want to see him land next? Some people thought the NFC North was going to be the worst division in football this season. They thought it was going to be as bad as the NFC South.